Good morning, everybody. It's that time, early morning crypto talk. Bitcoin Brandon here. We'll be getting started soon. How you doing, my fools? Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Daniel. Got to change it up sometimes. Even though I love that old beat. How you doing, Diane? We'll be getting started very soon. I've used this one before, Jeremy. It's just been a couple of weeks. My other one is my favorite. What's going on, Andrew? Rudy from San Diego. Early morning crypto talk. Bitcoin Brandon here. How you doing, Erica? We'll get started in about one more minute. How you doing, Chuck? Well, Facebook hasn't shut me down yet. We're talking about crypto. We'll see how long this lasts. There's actually a whole bunch of crypto news, but I didn't do late night crypto talk last night, so I'll cover just a couple of them. But the main one is everybody wants to know what's going on with the markets. Good morning, Mr. Ross. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. The first, I want to cover Coinbase because we are in tax season and everybody is always asking me for tax advice. So I want to give a disclaimer here. Number one, I am not a licensed tax or financial advisor to be dispensing any financial advice. I am just a guy that invests in the cryptocurrency industry, and I read the news article, I share my opinion and my suggestions, and you take that information, do your own homework and research, and decide what you want to do with your investments. Also, I always suggest, do not get involved in this industry without getting educated first. And then once you do, do not invest with money that you cannot afford to lose. And when you do invest with money, do not, or better yet, always, ROI, return on investment. That's your focus. How fast can you get your return on investment? Because this is a risky industry and you want to limit your risk as much as possible. Set a financial goal and a game plan of where you want to be with your investments and your plan in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and stick to it. Do not get distracted. You have limited resources. And know that if you're in this space, nothing goes up forever. I guarantee somewhere along the line, you will lose somewhere. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how much, but you will. Nobody gets out of this 100% positive. You will lose somewhere. You can go back to my recordings last year when I said this. I'm not immune to it either. But if you follow what I call, this is my prime directive in the crypto space, you will make money and limit your risk. Even when you lose, you'll still make money. Don't get greedy. This isn't Vegas. This isn't a slot machine. This isn't playing the lotto. You're taking what we call calculated risks and steps. Educated risks. All right, saying that, let's talk about what's going on with Coinbase. And I will put a link to this in the chat box. Coinbase sends American clients IRS tax form 1099K. Uh-oh. Now, this is setting a precedent because if Coinbase, the largest exchange where you can buy crypto in America, starts doing it, what's going on, Barbara? Then that means you're going to have others do the same thing or follow suit if the IRS gets what they want. So, Coinbase. And Christy, I don't know why people even live in Alaska. I know it's all beautiful and everything, but when you see that dial hit -6 degrees, it's time to fly south, like the birds do. It's going to be in the 80s here today in LA. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, if you are an American client of Coinbase and made plenty of transactions during 2017, you better check your email. The company sent out tax forms for 2017 to many clients who were not necessarily expecting it. San Francisco-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has issued 1099K tax forms for a certain segment of its clients in the U.S. on January 31st. The company explains that it files 1099K for customers who have received cash above the required reporting threshold, which is more than 200 receipt transactions or greater than $20,000 during the year. All right, so if you didn't do any transactions more than $20,000 in 2017, or really, let's think about this now, because the IRS went as far back from 2013 to 2015. So they're not doing it in just $20,000 over the course of 1 year. They're going to do it $20,000 from 2013 all the way till now, because they know nobody's been reporting crypto tax. So don't think, I didn't do 20,000 last year. I did 12,000. The year before I did 8,000. The year before that I did 6,000. Yeah, you're going to get one, because they're going back on you. That's why I always say, people ask me, how many Bitcoins do you own? One, you'll never hear me talk about how many I own or don't own. And number two, I don't buy Bitcoin, I earn it. And I will pay my taxes on that. So, this also includes business use accounts, as well as GDAX accounts in which sales of cryptocurrency for cash have occurred that exceed the thresholds. Business use is meant to apply only to those who receive payments in exchange for the provision of goods or services, not mining proceeds or transfers from other wallets they hold. All right, that's interesting there. Let me read that again, because that's important. Distinction. Business use is meant to apply only to those who received payments in exchange for the provision of goods or services, not mining proceeds or transfers from other wallets they hold. So they're not tracking it like if you, because we always preach, you need to have multiple wallets and your crypto spread out amongst, not all in one wallet. So if you're moving it into Coinbase, they're not counting that. They're looking at if you have any proceeds from transfers. Mining proceeds. Well, let me think about this. Those who receive payments in exchange, that's not counted for. But if you bought it on the exchange, that's what matters. So we use the best data available to us to determine whether your account activity qualifies as business use, including but not limited to factors such as completion of a merchant profile or enabling merchant tools. All right. So those of you who use PayPal, PayPal, you can have an individual account, you can have a business account, and some people have like their PayPal links attached to the websites. That's merchant. They call that enabling merchant tools. That means you qualify as a business. It says this is similar to Etsy sellers and Uber drivers who also file 1099-K forms. Over at the crypto community's online forums and social media, complaints are already popping up from Coinbase clients upset about the move. Besides the obvious displeasure of learning that their transactions will be reported to the IRS, people are complaining about not being notified beforehand, and above all, about figures being high. Okay, stop it. All right. You're complaining about not being notified beforehand? What have you been living with your head in the sand? See, this is why education is so important. The reason why I do 2 Facebook Lives a day. For the last 8 months, it's been reported that the IRS is on Coinbase's butt on this. They took them to court. You shouldn't be surprised that this is happening. It's been in the news every week. They lost the case. They said anybody that did transactions more than $20,000 is going to get reported to the IRS. So what are you shocked and excited? The people who were in the know took precautionary measures during that time period, which I'm not going to share publicly. So don't act like you're all of a sudden shocked. I'm shocked. They didn't notify me beforehand. This is your... Here's another thing, guys, as a disclaimer. When you lose, don't point the finger. Somebody did me wrong. I was scammed. This is your business. This is your investment. You are an adult. You make decisions. You take the information that's given to you and act upon it. That's your job. Hold on, I got Mike shooting me an important message. Dave Begoya. So this is important to know. Let's continue here. I always get a side eye when people act all shocked. They always expect things to work 100% perfectly. In the crypto space, the best suggestion I can give is from Bruce Lee. When Bruce Lee said, you must be like water. Water in a river. You must be able to navigate and move around the rocks and the obstacles. It's like canoeing down a wild river. You're going to get hit. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to need to change direction, but you're fluid. That's how you got to operate in this world. All right, so let me continue here. I hate the victim mentality in crypto. There are no victims here. You have to live with the decision that you make. Now, if you believe Coinbase made errors in your form, you should send them the information regarding the transactions that were counted in error via their support email. Consulting with a tax professional is advised as well. If anybody is looking for a new industry to get involved in, there's 2 major ones that's going to boom. 2 major industries. The tax industry, if you're that CPA, that tax person, if you learn to become an expert at crypto tax, you're going to have a whole lot of business starting next year. And also lawyers. Lawyers in this, you can write your own check if you're a professional lawyer when it comes to tax or IRS, SEC compliance coding in the cryptocurrency space. The number of businesses that are going to pop up that need to be represented, you're going to become a multi-millionaire as a lawyer. Another reason why is because there's far more money in the crypto world. These businesses, they got money. You don't have to chase ambulances. These people got money. The fact that Coinbase would want to prevent more problems for itself with the IRS should not be surprising. Back in November, a court ruled that the company had to report the personal data of 14,355 account holders who bought, sold, sent, or received more than $20,000 between 2013 and 2015. So nobody should be surprised by this. If you've been plugged in and educated, you took measures last year, so that this isn't phasing you at all. It doesn't phase me, but I pay attention because I know it sets a precedent. I say that right? For what other exchanges and other cryptocurrency things are going to do. All right, let's look at anything else that's important that I want to touch on before I get to the crash. Bloody January is what they call it. I said it at the beginning of the year. The empire strikes back. And they struck back hard beginning of 2018. Here's one. A Bitcoin tax payments bill advances in Arizona. Now, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we talked about Hawaii. What's going on in Hawaii? The regulations. Anybody in Hawaii that's dealing in crypto is going to have to get licensed. That bill, what was the date? February 2nd? Oh, that's today. That's today they're having an open hearing on this. February 2nd. And it's going underneath everybody's nose in Hawaii. They don't even know this is taking place. And you guys are about to get screwed on this. Because the moment you register, they want to know your wallets. They want to know what business you're using the crypto for. They want to know everything. And they try to make it illegal if you interact with crypto without you reporting that information. That's scary stuff there. You can't, that's the thing, you can't play with the law. When the law is done, is written, you got to be like Bruce Lee. Don't try to, see if I can get around this thing. You got to play within the rules. It's in your best interest long term to do so. So, let me put this link. This is a short article here. What's going on with Arizona? All right, lawmakers in Arizona have advanced a proposal that would allow residents in the state to pay their taxes in Bitcoin. What? Pay your taxes in Bitcoin? Now that I think about it, that's not a bad idea. And it's also smart on Arizona's part because the value of Bitcoin can rise. So it means they're going to get more money on their money. Is that legal? I mean, I'm going to do reverse analogy here. If the state of Arizona is allowing you to pay your taxes in Bitcoin, then that means that they are admitting that Bitcoin itself is a currency of value, that it can take the place of cash. I mean, how many states, and I'm not an expert on this, say we allow you to pay your taxes with property. Doesn't your property have to get repossessed first? Or you sell it for cash? Like, I need to pay my taxes. I don't have any money, but I have a house. So I'm going to either get a second mortgage on the home, pull out some cash to pay my taxes. I mean, is there any other state that allows you to pay taxes with property? That's my question. Because Arizona is passing a law. If the SEC, the FTC, the IRS, they're considering Bitcoin property for capital gains tax, yet they say you can pay taxes with crypto, which is essentially now saying it's a currency. They are dichotomous in nature here. The left hand is doing something and the right hand is doing something different, and we're supposed to abide by both laws. This could blow back on them. Again, I said, if you are a lawyer in this space, which I finished and got my law degree, you can make a killing on this. So the bill was submitted on January 9th. The Department of Revenue shall convert cryptocurrency payments to the United States dollars at the prevailing rate within 24 hours after receipt and shall credit the taxpayer's account with the converted dollar amount. The text of the bill reads, public records show that last week the Arizona Senate Finance Committee had given the thumbs up to the measure by a 4-3 margin. The bill remains before the Chamber's Rules Committee, though the endorsement of the Finance Committee, which encouraged that the bill is passed, increases the likelihood that the measure will succeed. Oh, I hope it does. I hope it does succeed. Because then anybody or any state that gets sued on anything like this can point to Arizona as a precedent. Why am I not saying that right? Precedents. Speaking with local media outlets, ABC 15 state senator and bill author Warren Peterson remarked that it came as a result of input and requests from his constituents. Finally, a government official who's listening to the people. Since I've started to work on this, I've been surprised how many people are holders of cryptocurrency. So probably more than you'd expect, he told the outlet. That's an interesting piece right there. Can you imagine that? You're paying your taxes with crypto, even though they say crypto isn't money. How interesting. This was interesting, but it's not relative to today's theme. The world's first artificial intelligence-based crypto card. I might save this for tonight if nothing major happens. Let's go on. Let's see. All right, this one was from 23 hours ago, but it's Bears claw cryptocurrency prices down to new lows. So I definitely want to hit on that before the main article, because the main article actually is trending right now around the world and on Facebook from CNBC. So whenever something in crypto hits the normal news cycle, I definitely want to pay attention to that, because that is what the masses are seeing and getting exposed to. All right, let's read this article. Cryptocurrency markets are suffering from new lows on the 1st of February as nearly every digital asset is down 3 to 20%. Since the last week of December 2017, Bitcoin core markets are seeing a continuous downward spiral, not seen since 2014. At the moment, BTC is desperately trying to climb above the 9K region at 8,950, but buying pressure is showing signs of some flat trade volume across the boards. Now, this has happened before. Only I think back in 2014, it had got up to 1,000 and then dropped all the way down to 300. So it lost 70% of its value. And it hovered there for like almost the entire year before it started to pull back up in 2015 and beyond. So this isn't new. It's just that there's more people in it now, and the price, when you went from 19,000 all the way down to 8,000, that's a shock for some people. But that's still not as low as it happened in 2014. Right now we're looking at a little more than half loss. There, back then, 2014 was 70%. In fact, let me hit the refresh button for coin market cap and see as it is now, because last time I looked maybe an hour ago, it started to turn a bit. Yeah, it's starting to turn just a bit. 8,844 was down to $8,000 earlier this morning. And remember what I said maybe 2 or 3 days ago when it was at the 10,500, 11,000 range, and everybody was saying this is the time to buy? No, no, no. They're all still in double digits, negative. You've got to wait till you start to see it flatten and bottom out. I'm seeing all the markets right now are trending upward right now. That's interesting. All of them. Then you got IOTAs in the green. But you wait, now might be the time to buy. I'm not giving any financial advice. It's just my suggestion. Right now might be the time to get in on the market while it's cheap. at this place. So let me go back to the article. Last week, digital assets were at a crossroads, and many Bitcoin traders expected either one of two scenarios. Either the dumps were over or markets would continue to slide in value. Trade volume has been weaker this week as global markets are only swapping 8 to 10 billion during 24-hour trading session intervals. The top 5 exchanges trading the most BTC include OKEx, Bitfinex, Binance, Bitflyer, and Upbit. BTC trading with the USD has dropped significantly since last week as the Japanese yen now commands the top currency pair position. The yen leads by 47.8%, which is followed by the USD at 29%, Tether at 9%, Euro 7%, and the Korean won 2.7%. The South Korean's won volume with BTC has dropped considerably over the past 2 weeks. The most traded digital asset right now, according to Shapeshift, is Ethereum. BTC and USD technical indicators show the decentralized digital asset has erased most of its gains over the 60-day average. Cryptocurrencies are suffering the most continuous losses since 2014, and traders are uncertain about the current true market value. The two simple moving averages, both short-term and long-term, have converged once again on January 30th. The 200 SMA is well above the short-term 100 trend line, which indicates bears will relentlessly keep pushing the value towards the downside. All right, this is a whole bunch of stuff here. Let me get back to, let's see, here we go. Cryptocurrency markets in general are all in red, minus a few digital assets. Ethereum's value has been the strongest over the past 2 weeks, even quietly touching an all-time high. At the moment, the second highest capitalization held by Ethereum shows markets are down 4.9%, as one Ethereum has an average price of $1,050. The second highest valued cap still belongs to Ripple, but markets are down 12.4%, and Ripple is 0.98% per coin, 98 cents per coin. Bitcoin Cash is following the downward trend as well, as BCH markets are down 13.2%, with an average of $1,285 per token. And lastly, Cardano is down significantly, with prices seeing a percentage loss of around 16%. So Cardanos are now worth 0.42%. Like those of you that's with Electroneum, what is Electroneum at right now? I saw it was at 6 cents yesterday. Right now it is at 7 cents. So it's up 6.24% and rising. So those of you that's still holding your Electroneums, hold it. The market's coming right back up on it right now. Let's see here. Market sentiment across the board is extremely bearish right now, and many traders expected the lower bound 8K zone to happen. Many believe most cryptocurrencies are in deep search of their fair market values after rising so fast 2 months ago. Alongside this, trade volume commanded quite a bit of trading, but since the recent U.S. tax cuts for equities markets, new money has likely jumped to those investment vehicles. With the special incentives for tax cuts, U.S. equities markets have been on fire since the announcement this past week. Further, there's been nothing but negative news tied to cryptos. Yep, the FUD. And uplifting news doesn't seem to be in the pipeline right now. For now, some speculators believe prices could still drop to 5 to 7K. I don't think so, but I may be wrong. I doubt that. While others think there will likely be a big rebound either at our current vantage point or around the $82 to $8,400 if prices sink that low. All right, let's look at the big picture here. The big picture is that the market was expected to hit at least 10K by the end of 2017. And this was before the CME and the CBOE announcement. Without that, those announcements, just off of hype, pushed the price up to almost $20,000. So let's take the CME and CBOE out of the equation, and let's say it did hit 10K at the end of the year as projected. There still would have been a market correction at 10K. And that market correction normally goes in between 20 to 30%. So if it hit 10K at the end of the year and it corrected, it would be at around $7,500 to $8,000 a coin as a market correction. And that is exactly where we seem to be right now. So if you're trying to figure out what is the true market valuation, we're looking at it right now. It's between $7,500 to $9,000 if there was a correction at $10,000. That's why people like myself aren't sweating at all. Because just 3 months ago, we would have been blown out of our mind that BTC hit $8,000 a coin. It wasn't too long ago, it was at $2,900. And I mean like October. All right? So while people are seeing a loss or a crash, we're still winning. You got to understand that. This also is why education is so important. Know your history. Know the trends. All right, let's go into today's article from CNBC. And I want to point out as well, don't tell me it disappeared. There was breaking news. Yeah, here it is. Aw, man. It just disappeared. Breaking news is that the stock market is also dropped by 400 points. At the same time, crypto is as well. So don't think, oh, it's just crypto. See, a 400-point drop in the stock market is far more impactful than a 60 and 70% drop in crypto. All right? Keep that in mind. So let me put this article in the chat box. As Bitcoin's price plunges, skeptics say the cryptocurrency has no value. Cryptocurrency has no value. That's what the skeptics say. Here's one argument for why they're wrong. Why are they wrong? What's going on, Mike? I was trying to chat with you while I was doing the Facebook Live. Yeah, those names, you spoke to Brenda the other day. And Dave is the sponsor of you know who. So I just want to make sure you got that right, because they both contacted me looking for their paperwork. All right. So here we go. Bitcoin's price has been on a wild ride since its inception. 2017 alone saw massive gains, starting the year at under $1,000, and at its peak breaking $19,000 according to industry site CoinDesk. On Tuesday, it was trading at $11,943, a decline of 12%, according to CoinDesk. As Bitcoin's popularity surges and its price rises and falls, more and more people are asking the same question. How does Bitcoin, something that's essentially invisible and intangible, have value? How does it have value? Well, scarcity and utility. In economics, something has value if it checks the following two boxes: scarcity and utility. Scarcity just means that something has a finite supply. In the case of Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency has a set cap of 21 million Bitcoins. Many analysts note that this set cap makes Bitcoin more desirable than other assets, even gold. That's because unlike with gold, there's no need to worry about digital gold rush. A treasure trove of Bitcoin won't ever be discovered, causing the crypto's price to crash with an influx in supply. There are potentially millions of times more gold underground than have actually been extracted, said Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors. Lee was chief equity strategist at JP Morgan before co-founding Fundstrat in 2014. Ben Yu, a blockchain expert living in San Francisco, says technological advances are also making gold easier to mine. Today we mine gold at 4 times the rate we did just 100 years ago, Yu said. So if Bitcoin has scarcity, what about its utility? Many believe the cryptocurrency's utility lies in its potential to be a more efficient commodity than we already have. Proponents of Bitcoin like it for a number of reasons. First, Bitcoin is decentralized, meaning no government, bank, or single person has control over it. It can't be toppled by corruption at the top. It's also trivially divisible, meaning you can buy a small item like a donut with it as easily as you can buy a house or even a mansion. And finally, the code it's built on is open source, meaning that it's available for anyone to look at, scrutinize, and even modify. This means Bitcoin is constantly evolving and improving. None of those issues is intrinsic, however, and that's a point Bitcoin skeptics often make. Gold, for example, is thought to have intrinsic value because of its applications in industries like dentistry and electronics. Some people even argue that dollar bills have intrinsic value, since they can be used as kindling or to write on. Wait, hold up. Are you mean to tell me that there's some clowns out there saying that the dollar bill has value because you can write on it? What? Get out of here. What is the cost of actually making a $1 bill? 2 cents? That's the cost of making a dollar bill? Do you know how much it costs to mine Bitcoin? Over $1,000. Yeah, there's value there. Proof of work. It costs over $1,000 just to mine the Bitcoin. If there was no value in it, nobody would mine for it. Toilet paper costs more than the US dollar. Why do you think you always hear that old saying, what am I going to use this for, to wipe my butt with? Because the US dollar has no value. It's not backed by the gold standard. That dropped in 1971. So according to the World Gold Council in 2016, only 15% of gold was used in industries. The majority went toward making jewelry and gold bars and coins, items that have value mainly because they're trusted to be valuable. When was the last time you saw somebody walk up in a McDonald's and drop a gold bar talking about, give me number 5? Give me 2 cheeseburgers and French fries. It's a store of value. With paper money, the Federal Reserve says it costs about 16 cents to create a $100 bill. 16 cents. So the rest of that $100, the remaining $99.84, comes from the trust people place in it. The trust. And the same people that say, the dollar's king, are saying, ooh, what's the value of Bitcoin? It has nothing back in it. The trust of the people. If the US dollar is being held up from the trust of the people, why is it that Bitcoin, you can't recognize that Bitcoin is also being held up because of the trust of the people? Same thing. The $100 bill is only worth 16 cents. It can be hard to see digital currency as having value because you can't hold it in your hand like you can a dollar bill or gold. Now that's just plain silly, but I understand the psychology behind it. Imagine this. You go to a party. Now see, I grew up as a teenager in the 90s and a young adult in the 90s. You go to a party. You know, I don't want to use a party when it's not late night crypto talk. Let's use business. You go to a board meeting, you go to a business meeting, you go to an MLM meeting. What is the first thing that you're taught to do for your guests? See, I grew up in the ACN era. You go get a cup of water and you place it in their hand immediately. It's something about when people have something in their hand, their barrier, their wall falls a bit. They feel more relaxed. They feel more comfortable. They feel engaged. If they have nothing in their hand, the only thing they can do with their hand is cross their arms. And the body movement of crossing their arms automatically means they're closing off their body to new information. So you need to open themselves up. Open up their vibrate. I'm getting too deep on you guys here. This is psychological. This is, in my videos, how to be a master recruiter. You put something in their hand. So with people, since they can feel and touch a dollar bill, you know, they can throw it on the bed and roll over in it. They can jump in it like Scrooge freaking McDuck. They feel better about it because they can feel, taste it, and touch it. But because of crypto, you can't feel and touch it. Psychologically, you think, oh, it doesn't have any value. Psychological thing about that. Ray, that's quote of the year. Toilet paper costs more than the dollar bill. It's true. It costs more than the $100 bill. All right. As a solution, Lee said to think of Bitcoin as a digital business. If you ask a baby boomer, can you justify the value of anything that's a digital business, they probably don't accept that Facebook, Google, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, these are all the largest companies in the S&P 500, and they're primarily digital businesses built almost purely on digital trust, said Lee. Let me stop there. I just dropped my son off at school, and on the way home, I heard a earnings report from January. Steve Bezos made $17 billion in the month of January. He is now worth over $120 billion on a digital bookstore he founded over a decade ago. Can you imagine that? People said that Amazon ain't gonna work. Nobody wants to order their books online or read it online. And he turned that concept into, now you can get anything you want from Amazon. The world's richest man. Digital. Digital. In fact, over the next 10 to 15 years, the world's richest people will come out of the crypto space, and it'll all be digital. There's going to be companies that you haven't even thought of, that you don't even conceive, that are not even in existence right now. They're going to be one of the top businesses in the world in the next 10 years. I always say we're training and preparing our kids in college for a world that will no longer exist, or their education will be obsolete by the time they graduate. You need to learn the crypto skill set if you want to survive the next 50 years. You can't be a spectator on this. Oh, I'm getting sidetracked. Hold on. I'm not in training mode right now. Anyone who thinks digital gold isn't a store of value is overlooking the fact that most businesses today are built around digital trust, including the financial system. It's clear that some people believe Bitcoin has value, and if it has value, it's hard not to wonder how much a single Bitcoin could end up being worth. There are two main theories being used to calculate the potential value of one Bitcoin. The first theorizes that Bitcoin, which some perceive to be a better asset than gold, could end up replacing either a portion of gold or gold entirely. If it were to replace gold entirely, one Bitcoin could be worth $357,000 per coin. That's calculated by taking the total value of all the gold ever mined in the world, which is about 7.5 trillion, and dividing that number by 21 million, the total Bitcoins that can ever exist. See, it's mathematical. This isn't made up mumbo jumbo. Lee told CNBC it's more realistic to assume Bitcoin will replace 5% of gold within 5 years, making a single coin worth $25,000. Another theory of Lee's is based on Metcalfe's law, which says that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of users on the network. For example, one phone is useless because you can't call anyone else with it. You understand that? What good is having a phone if you have nobody to call? But the value increases exponentially as other people get phones. Studies have shown that Metcalfe's law holds true for Facebook, using 10 years of data. It also holds true for Tencent, China's largest social media company. Fundstrat looked at users on the Bitcoin network and found that the square of this value explained 94% of the variation in Bitcoin prices since 2014. Many people think that Bitcoin is a bubble, and that's predicted on the concept that Bitcoin has no value. But there's reason to believe that that just isn't true. By definition, Bitcoin is scarce, and the cryptocurrency may have utility as a superior way to store and exchange wealth. So all I see from this market correction is a shakeup of the tree of people who had no business being in this space. And we're seeing the true value of it, which now, those of you who wish you could have bought in, now's the time to buy. It ain't going nowhere. And it's only going to go back up. So that's all for Crypto Talk today. You know, I was going to share this morning that yesterday I went to get my first hearing check with my new hearing aid yesterday, right? And I had an experience. Do you guys remember me talking about how to have a crypto conversation? Or if you're in a bar and you want to be able to strike up a conversation with the opposite sex, how nothing could be more sexier than talking about Bitcoin, and that I was going to try it out in the public. Well, it happened yesterday, as I was at the hearing doctor, and I'm going to share the details of this tonight because it's more late night crypto talk. But just to give you a rundown, the receptionist was setting up my next appointment, and she said, what works best for me, morning or afternoon? I said, morning works best. And then she looked, she said, all your appointments have been in the morning. I mean, do you like work late hours or second shift or something? I said, I don't have a job. And she says, you don't have a, wait a minute, didn't you pay for that hearing aid with cash? Because my hearing aid cost $3,200. And I just paid it with I paid it with cash and no payment plan. I said, yeah. And so then she looks at me kind of sideways. She's like, well, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I work from home. She's like, oh, that's cool. So what do you do? I said, I invest in the cryptocurrency space. And she said, crypto, you mean Bitcoin? I said, yeah. Her entire face lit up. Her body language completely changed. And if you want to know how the rest of that story ended, you got to tune in to Crypto Talk tonight. Late night Crypto Talk to hear the details on how that went down. And I proved my own theory. Yes, it works. So if you want to have that social media edge, or in other words, that, what was the term if you're out and about in society? You want to have that leg up, the status symbol. Let people see you as a crypto expert. That is a status symbol. So it is not just a need. It should be a want and a desire that you have education in the crypto space. You want to be educated. This is the biggest trend that is not going anywhere, which is exactly why what we are launching in the next 45 days is going to be the biggest thing spoken of in 2018 in the direct selling cryptocurrency space. The team that we already have on board is a dream. I have never been in a position like this in my entire career. And the funny thing is that last year, around September, October, when I was very much defensive of the crypto space from my fellow MLM people who saw it as a threat. And rightfully so. I mean, numbers don't lie. When 90% of people in the MLM direct selling space will never make $1,000 a month or be in profit, and those same 90% people that come into the crypto space and 90% or more make money, people will always follow the money. So of course they felt threatened and they lashed out. But they lashed out in a blanket statement calling every single thing in crypto a Ponzi and a scam. Are there? Yes. The majority of them are. That doesn't mean all of them are. But I made a prediction. And I said this back in November. I think I made this prediction. That around March and April of 2018, we call that the spring shuffle in network marketing. The same seven-figure earners that you see that are currently either blasting crypto publicly or watching it secretly, privately, will be in the crypto space in 2018 by either creating their own company or joining one that is doing things the right way, that learn from the mistakes of the other cryptocurrency companies that came beforehand, that had to be in the firing squad of the SEC, the IRS, the FTC, all those three-letter digit government agencies, to making sure things are being done the right way, because everything in this crypto space could be seen as the sale of securities. There'll be a company that comes in and figures it out and does it the right way, and those individuals that were blasting crypto are going to join it, and they're going to be very big proponents of it. Not only that, all or most of the network marketing companies by the end of 2018 will be either accepting Bitcoin as payment for their product and services, or they will offer the opportunity to pay commissions in Bitcoin by the end of this year. What I did not know when I made that prediction is that I would be also involved in that project. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when, where, or how, and I didn't know that I would be involved. Not only am I involved, I'm neck deep involved. So if you guys knew and saw the stuff that I know that we're about to do, it is exciting. Nothing we've ever done before can top what we're about to do here. And one way or another, you will hear about it. One way or another. But if you want to hear about how my social experiment went by having Bitcoin conversations out in the real world, we call it in the field, you got to come back for late night crypto talk, because I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down, you got to understand body language as well. 90% of communication when you're face to face with somebody is body language. I mastered that. And I'll tell you how this receptionist responded to me when I started talking about Bitcoin. With that, see you all later on Crypto Talk tonight. Keep watching the markets. It is starting to turn, flatten out. This might be the time to buy. And as a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I only share my suggestions and opinions by reading news articles. You take that as you will. Do your own research and make your own decision. God bless. Have a great day. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.